Dr. Jaishankar ji, namaskar. मैं अमरनाथ दास, I'm with the World Health Organization (WHO) and I'm the regional head for the compliance and the risk for the entire MENA region. I'm really very happy to hear you, sir, that the way that you have been elaborating, especially the organization that I've been working, and I have seen actually those things coming actually. So as an Indian, I'm really proud the development that India has done. No doubt that India is now emerging as a global leader. Last 8 years, India has done extremely great work in bringing, all the pharmaceutical, the industries, and also if world is thinking about pharmacy, they are coming to India and all. And again, as you have alluded that Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, with his leadership, not only just we have shown the world that how with such a big population we have managed so effectively the COVID and how we developed our health system in India, but we supported the world as well. So this was really acknowledged at various levels. Maybe my question to you, Dr. Jaishankar, is now maybe I'm sure that you must be thinking, or the government of India must be planning to take India to the next level. If someone is thinking about health, how we can make India as the health hub? So maybe I'm sure that, you can still explain, because you talked about with the positive news, there are still a lot of challenges as well. So if you can just elude maybe some of other points that how India is going to become the health hub. Thank you, sir.
Health hub. Health hub is a very strong term. I think our challenges are broader in a way because the challenges at different levels. We are, interestingly, a health hub for many countries. People would be surprised at the number of foreigners who visit India for medical purposes. Not just in our immediate neighborhood, from the Gulf, from East Africa, from Central Asia. I have visibility of it because as a foreign minister, for us, we see the visas, we see the requests from them for easy travel. The idea that India can offer quality care on competitive terms for a fairly substantial number of people, that is there. I think I now see the prospect of Indian medical, hospitals and other medical institutions actually going out of India more as a business, and some of it is happening, sometimes in collaboration with other countries. So that is one part of the hub answer. The other part of the hub answer is actually the pharma, the pharmacy of the world answer. This was not the first pandemic, it's not the last pandemic. And it's not only pandemics. What COVID has done in India, it has done across the world. Everybody today is much more health conscious. That many things which people would have shrugged their shoulders and say, well, these things happen. Today, people are not prepared to be fatalistic about it. They want an active response. They have expectations of their governments. And we have shown here, again, I'm giving you not here a health perspective, but a foreign policy perspective. I cannot tell you the goodwill in the world today that while we were taking care of our own vaccinations, we also had the largeness of the heart to spare it for other people. It wasn't just the supply. It was the sentiment that, you could actually even think about it. And, it's interesting. If you go, there are islands in the Caribbean, in Pacific, in parts of Africa, where actually vaccines were made much closer to them. True. But they didn't get the vaccines from those centers. They actually got it from us. And we saw also the difficult side of the world. There were countries who stockpiled vaccines at that time, who sometimes had stockpiles which were multiple size of their population. So that also happened. So I would say our reputation as the pharmacy of the world also has grown. Openness, to looking at Indian produced, made in India, or produced by Indian company medicines has grown. That is the second part of the hub. But there is an underlying challenge, and the challenge is in our own society, that how do we make health universal, health access a universal right? And the answer to that is digital. That if you have, our resources are not going to grow dramatically in the short term. So what digital does is it actually allows you an optimization, that the same resources are utilized by so many more people because there is a digital efficiency which comes, that the number of patients are better organized, the services move in a much more organized way, the medicines are more rationally distributed. And there are some very interesting schemes. I mean, Prime Minister, for example, has pushed the idea of generic medicine pharmacy. Now that has lowered the cost of medicines for people. And a lot of us actually go around advocating to people, saying, please use these Jan Aushadhi pharmacies, that they are affordable for you. So we have to today scale up health coverage in India. So the Ayushman Bharat initiative, Jan Arogya initiative have to be taken across the country in a very, very effective way. I would say 5 years ago, many of us would say it's a great idea. I hope, मैं 10 साल में हो जाएगा. Today, I think people feel, look at what we have done in last 2 years. This timeline can be crunched. So for me, the big jump would be if we can actually institute a system of universal or near universal health coverage at home.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Zahir Shah.
Good evening, Your Excellency, Ambassador. I am by profession an executive who has spent a lot of years with multinational companies, of which the last 25 years or so have been in Egypt. I just wish to bring to the notice of the Honorable Minister two areas where I feel the Indian community has contributed a lot in terms of development in India. One of the areas is fairly well known and the other is not. The area which I feel is not very well known is that the role that Indian managers have played in Egypt in the upliftment and development of local talent in the corporate sector. In the 1990s, when I first came here, most of the Indian expats were CEOs of manufacturing companies or banks. And one of the reasons why we were brought to India was not only to help the Egyptian companies operating here to do well, but also because Egypt lacked a second line of local managers who could run those companies. So our big objective was not only to make our companies successful, but also was to train the second line. And I think that a lot of effort went into this, and it has proved to be very successful, because today a lot of the spots which were earlier occupied by Indian expats or expats from other countries have been taken over by the Egyptians. So development of corporate manpower, I think, is an objective which the Indian community here has fulfilled very well. The second major area where India has contributed a lot is in helping Egypt to become a major player in the ready-made garment industry in the world. Today, ready-made garments is the single largest manufacturing sector in Egypt.